welcome to another deep dive. This time we're going to be looking at SaaS product development.
Ooh, SaaS.
It's everywhere these days.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it's not just a buzzword anymore. It's kind of reshaping the whole landscape of business.
Absolutely. And you know what's funny? I was just reading this PDF earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's called What is SaaS Product Development and Why is it Essential for Modern Businesses?
Catchy title.
It is. It really gets to the heart of, what we're going to be talking about today.
For sure.
And one of the things that struck me just flipping through it was how SaaS, it's not just about making things easier.
Right.
It's really about creating a whole bunch of new opportunities that weren't even possible before.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people miss that.
Yeah.
They kind of see SaaS as just like a new way to deliver software.
Right.
But I think the real power is how it's changing the game for all businesses.
Yeah.
From like tiny startups all the way up to like the huge companies.
Totally. So before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's just, start with the basics.
Okay.
What exactly is SaaS product development?
So at its core, SaaS product development is basically the process of creating software applications that live on these like remote servers.
Okay.
And then users can access them over the internet.
Gotcha. So no more like installing software on your computer.
Exactly. Yeah. It's all managed by the provider and it's delivered as a service.
Oh, kind of like Spotify or Netflix.
Yeah. Kind of like
instead of having a CD or, a DVD, you just stream it.
Exactly. You access what you need when you need it. No need to like physically own anything.
I like it, but SaaS is more than just convenience, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
What else makes it special?
Well, so, we were talking about that cloud-based hosting.
Yeah.
That's like a key thing because since the application isn't on your computer, it's on the provider's infrastructure.
Right.
Businesses don't have to invest like a ton of money in their own servers or hire a bunch of IT people to manage it all.
So you're saving money there.
Yeah, exactly. And that leads into another big thing with SaaS, which is the subscription-based pricing.
Ah.
So instead of like paying this big upfront fee to buy the software, users just pay a recurring fee, which is usually monthly or annually.
Right. So it's more predictable.
Exactly. And it makes it way more affordable for businesses that maybe couldn't afford the traditional software licenses.
It's like that whole subscription model that's taking over everything.
Yeah, totally.
It's like the Netflixification of everything.
Yeah.
But instead of movies.
It's business tools.
Exactly.
You got it. And another key characteristic is accessibility.
Okay.
So SaaS applications can be accessed from pretty much any device that has an internet connection.
Okay.
So your laptop, your smartphone, your tablet.
That makes sense.
Makes remote work and collaboration way easier.
And that ties into the whole scalability thing that the PDF talks about?
Yeah, for sure.
So if your software lives online and you can access it anywhere, it's got to be way easier to adapt to growing user numbers. Or if your business needs change.
Totally. With traditional software, if you wanted to scale up, you'd have to buy more licenses, install new servers, maybe even hire more IT staff.
Oh, wow.
But with SaaS, you just adjust your subscription plan.
So simple.
Yeah, it's way easier for businesses to respond to changes in demand and stuff.
So it's not just more accessible, it's also more agile.
Yeah, you got it. And there's one more layer to that agility.
Okay, tell me.
Automatic updates.
Oh.
With traditional software updates meant downtime, compatibility issues, sometimes even more costs.
Oh.
But with SaaS, the provider handles all the updates in the background.
Oh, wow. So you always have the latest version.
Exactly, yeah. All the new features, all the security patches, bug fixes. You don't have to do anything.
That sounds great. But doesn't that mean you're kind of giving up some control?
That's a good point.
What if an update messes things up or they get rid of a feature you really need?
Right. So that's something that SaaS providers are really aware of. And most of the good ones have these really thorough testing procedures to make sure there's no disruptions.
Okay.
And they usually have ways for users to give feedback and get support if there are any problems.
So it's like a trade-off, right?
Yeah.
You're giving up a little bit of control, but you get the convenience of always having the latest version.
Exactly. And I think that shift in mindset is something that businesses who are used to managing their own software in-house really need to consider.
Yeah, for sure. And I bet that shift in mindset goes beyond just the IT people.
Totally. It can affect budgeting and procurement training, even user adoption.
There's a ripple effect throughout the whole organization.
For sure.
And I'm already thinking about all the ways SaaS is changing how businesses operate.
Yeah.
But let's go back to some of the tangible benefits.
Okay.
Our source talks about cost efficiency.
Right.
So how exactly does SaaS save businesses money?
Well, we talked about not having to pay those big upfront software costs.
Right.
But it's more than that. You're not responsible for maintaining the hardware, managing servers, or dealing with like complicated software installations.
Right.
The provider takes care of all of that.
So you save money on IT infrastructure and staff.
Exactly.
It's like with traditional software, there are all these hidden costs, like an iceberg.
That's a good analogy.
You only see the tip, but there's all this stuff going on underneath.
Yeah, and those costs can add up, especially as your business grows.
Right.
SaaS helps to make those costs more transparent and predictable.
Okay, so we've got scalability, cost efficiency, accessibility. But what about like the impact on how and where we work?
Right.
Is SaaS really changing the game when it comes to remote work and collaboration?
Absolutely. It plays a huge role in enabling the modern workplace.
Okay.
So, we talked about accessibility, which is a key part of it.
Yeah.
But then there's also the real-time updates and data sharing capabilities that a lot of SaaS platforms have. That makes teamwork so much more efficient and productive, even when people are working from different locations.
Makes you think of this research project I read about.
Oh, yeah.
They were studying the impact of SaaS on global teams, and they found that the teams using cloud-based collaboration tools, they not only felt more connected to their colleagues, but they also saw a big jump in the speed and quality of their work.
Wow.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it really seems like SaaS is breaking down all these geographical barriers, allowing businesses to work with people from all over the world.
Yeah. It's changing how we work together.
Exactly. And it's not just about the technology itself.
Right.
It's changing how we interact with each other.
For sure.
Welcome back to this deep dive. We're picking up right where we left off, talking about SaaS.
Yeah, and last time we kind of touched on how SaaS is impacting like different teams.
Right.
But I think it's super interesting to see how it's like specifically affecting different industries.
Yeah, exactly. Earlier we were talking about remote teams.
Right.
And, that's just one example. But let's talk about healthcare.
Okay.
I know our source material mentions like electronic health records.
Yeah.
But I'm curious to hear like more about how SaaS is actually being used in healthcare.
Well, think about how complex healthcare is. You've got patient data treatment plans, insurance claims, communication between all these different providers.
Right. It's a lot to keep track of.
Yeah, it's a ton of information that needs to be managed securely and efficiently.
And I imagine traditionally a lot of that information has been kind of siloed in different systems.
Exactly. It's been tough to share and access when you need it.
Right.
But SaaS is changing that these cloud-based platforms are enabling a more integrated approach to healthcare data management.
Okay, I'm listening.
So doctors can access patient records from anywhere, specialists can collaborate on treatment plans in real time, and patients can even manage their own health information through secure online portals.
So it's not just about convenience, it's about potentially improving patient care and outcomes.
That's the real power of SaaS in healthcare streamlining processes, reducing errors, and ultimately empowering both healthcare providers and patients with the information they need to make better decisions.
I like it. Okay, so we've seen how SaaS is making a difference in healthcare. What about other industries? Our source also mentioned finance.
Yeah.
That seems like another area that's ripe for disruption.
Oh, for sure. The finance industry has tons of data complex transactions and super strict security requirements.
Right.
And they've traditionally relied on these old legacy systems that are slow, expensive, and hard to integrate.
So how is SaaS shaking things up in this world of numbers and regulations?
It's making financial institutions more agile and responsive to what customers need.
Okay.
Think about online banking platforms, mobile payment apps, robo-advisors. All of that is powered by SaaS.
Yeah, it's so much easier to do banking stuff now.
Exactly. I bet you barely even go to a physical bank anymore.
I do pretty much everything online or through my phone.
See, and behind the scenes, SaaS is handling things like fraud detection, risk management, data analytics.
Oh, wow.
It's making financial transactions more secure and efficient.
So it's not just about the customer experience, it's also helping institutions manage risk and compliance.
Yeah, it's a win-win for everyone involved.
Okay, one more industry I want to touch on is retail.
Okay.
Our source briefly mentioned e-commerce platforms.
Right.
But I'm curious, how else is SaaS transforming the shopping experience?
Well, retail is another industry that's going through this huge transformation.
Yeah.
And SaaS is at the heart of it.
Okay.
E-commerce platforms are just the beginning. It's being used for everything from managing inventory and optimizing the supply chain to personalized marketing and customer relationship management.
So it's like managing the whole retail ecosystem in a more efficient and data-driven way.
Exactly. SaaS is helping retailers understand their customers better, personalize their shopping experiences, and optimize their operations from start to finish.
So whether you're shopping online in a store or interacting with a brand on social media, it's a more seamless and engaging experience.
Exactly.
It's amazing to think about how SaaS is touching so many parts of our lives without us even realizing it.
It really is.
But with all this talk about the benefits and transformations, it makes me wonder, what are the challenges involved in actually creating these SaaS products?
Right. Is it all smooth sailing, or are there bumps in the road?
Exactly. What are some of the hurdles that developers face?
Well, one of the biggest challenges, and our source material talks about this a lot, is security.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
When you're dealing with sensitive data that's stored in the cloud, security is super important.
Right. Anytime you're dealing with information, online security is a top concern.
Yeah, but with SaaS, the stakes are even higher because you're trusting a third party with your data.
That's true.
And it's not just about protecting the data itself, it's about making sure the whole platform is secure and compliant with all the relevant regulations.
Right.
SaaS developers need to stay on top of the latest security threats and implement really strong measures to protect user data from breaches and cyber attacks.
So it's not a one-time thing. Security has to be an ongoing focus.
Exactly. It's a continuous process. Another challenge is scalability.
Right. We talked about the benefits of scalability.
Yeah.
But I imagine actually achieving it from a technical standpoint can be tricky.
It can be, yeah. SaaS products need to be designed to handle a growing number of users, increasing amounts of data, and fluctuating demand without slowing down or crashing.
That makes me think of that story about that popular SaaS platform that went down during a peak traffic period.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
It caused a lot of problems for their users, and it really showed how important it is to have a strong infrastructure that can scale up when you need it to.
Yeah, that's a great example of why scalability is so crucial for SaaS. It's about making sure users have a smooth and reliable experience, even when things get busy.
Okay, so we've got security and scalability. What other challenges come to mind?
Well, integration is another big one. SaaS products rarely exist in a vacuum.
Right.
They often need to integrate with other systems and applications that businesses are already using.
Yeah, it wouldn't make sense to have a new SaaS marketing platform that couldn't talk to your existing CRM system.
Exactly. And getting that integration to work seamlessly can be tough. It takes careful planning and execution to make sure data is flowing smoothly between different platforms.
Right.
And then there's the user experience. You know, in today's competitive market, a great user experience is essential for any SaaS product to succeed.
Yeah, so it's not just about building a product that works. It's about building a product that people actually enjoy using.
Exactly. And creating that seamless, intuitive, enjoyable user experience requires a deep understanding of what users need and how they behave, as well as a commitment to constantly testing and improving the product.
Okay, so creating a successful SaaS product is no easy feat.
Definitely not.
It takes technical expertise, a focus on security, and a deep understanding of the user. But what about the future of SaaS? What trends are on the horizon that developers and businesses need to be aware of?
Welcome back to the deep dive. We've talked about what SaaS is, how it's changing industries, and even the challenges developers face when building these things.
It's been a wild ride.
It has.
But now I think it's time to look at the bigger picture.
Okay.
We've talked about all the details of SaaS.
Right.
But what does it all actually mean for businesses, strategically?
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, it's one thing to understand the technology, but it's another thing entirely to know how to actually use it to grow your business and make it successful. Exactly. And that's what makes SaaS so exciting. It's not just about swapping out old software for new software. Yeah. It's about fundamentally changing the way businesses operate and compete.
So it's about seeing SaaS as a strategic tool.
Exactly. And one of the key ways SaaS does that is through agility.
Yeah.
We touched on this before, but it's really important in today's market. Businesses need to be able to adapt quickly to all these changes. You know, customer needs new technologies, global events.
Right, like when the pandemic hit.
Exactly. The businesses that were able to quickly adapt their operations and what they offered, those were the ones that survived.
Yeah.
And SaaS played a big role in that adaptability. It lets businesses scale up or down as needed, add or remove features, without taking forever, and even completely change their business models way easier than with traditional software.
It's like having a flexible infrastructure that can bend instead of breaking.
That's a great way to put it. And that agility goes hand in hand with another strategic advantage of SaaS.
Which is?
Innovation.
Excellent.
SaaS makes it easier to innovate.
How so?
Well, by using cloud-based platforms and APIs, businesses can experiment with new ideas, build and launch products faster, and respond to market changes way quicker.
So it's not just about keeping up with the competition, it's about being ahead of the game.
Yeah. Exactly. And this faster pace of innovation is good for everyone, businesses and consumers.
Right. Consumers get new and better products and services.
Exactly. It's like a win-win situation.
This brings us to something we've touched on before, the customer experience.
Oh, yeah.
It seems like every business is trying to be customer-centric these days.
Yeah, it's a big buzzword.
But how does SaaS actually help with that?
Well, in a world where customers have so many choices, it's super important to provide a smooth and personalized experience.
Right.
And SaaS is a big part of that. We talked about how SaaS is accessible anytime, anywhere, but it goes beyond that. SaaS lets businesses collect and analyze customer data in real-time personalized interactions and tailor their offerings to each customer's needs and preferences.
So it's like having a personalized concierge for every customer.
Exactly. And that level of personalization is what makes SaaS so different from traditional software. And it creates a truly customer-centric approach.
It's about building relationships with your customer.
Exactly. Fostering loyalty and making them happy.
Yeah. This has been incredible. We've covered so much.
I know, right?
From the nitty-gritty details to the big picture implications and what's next for SaaS.
Yeah, it's been awesome exploring this world with you. And as we wrap up, I think it's important to remember that SaaS is more than just a business tool.
Okay, what do you mean?
It's shaping our world in a big way.
Tell me more.
We've talked about how SaaS is transforming businesses,
Right.
but it's also making technology accessible to more people. It's encouraging innovation all over the world, and it's changing how we work, learn, and connect with each other.
It's not just about companies adopting SaaS, it's about how it's affecting society as a whole.
Exactly. And as we move forward, it's important to think about the bigger implications of this technology, to use it responsibly, and to make sure everyone benefits from it.
That's a great point and a perfect note to end on. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of SaaS. We hope you learned some valuable stuff and are excited to see what the future holds for this amazing technology.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
Until next time, Deep Divers.